Now to discuss New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew and Texas Congressman Michael Burgess. Congressman Burgess, I'll start with you. We've seen the recent concern here with the economy. You've got people all across this nation dealing with the fact that the pork costs more, the poultry costs more, the toilet paper costs more, and they're spending $400 million a day more on gas than they were a year ago.
Yeah, this is a really troublesome trend. And, the part of the world where I live, gas prices are probably not as high as they are in Jeff's part of the world, but they're still well over $1 a gallon higher than they were a year ago. And this is a trend that really needs to be countered. And all of the energy policies that the administration has put forward have just piled on to make this problem worse. And if you don't solve the energy price problem, you're not going to solve the inflation problem.
Absolutely. Congressman Van Drew, I'll come to you because to that point, again, there are regional peaks here when it comes to these issues. Again, this notion that we can continue to print money, which in many ways is driving the inflation that is outpacing the wage gains that Americans are seeing at a time when we have people withdrawing from the workforce. We have what people have called, in many ways, a slower than necessary recovery, while GDP goes all the way down to 2% and shrinking. How do we get out of this mess?
Well, first of all, with this administration, we've been getting less for more, obviously, because of inflation. Our positions and our energy portfolio is horrible, and the president just has done a terrible with that. The way he's dealt with COVID and now with the COVID vaccines and the vax mandates are going to create more problems, more inflation, because less people are going to be working. Truck drivers alone said 30-some% of their truckers, if they're mandated to take the vaccine, they're not going to do so immediately. Honestly, this president, his name is synonymous with failure. I don't mean to be mean-spirited, but it is. I could almost see a time in the future where people will go, oh my God, I pulled a Biden. And that would mean I did something really stupid. You cannot have this rate of inflation, 6% every single day, by the way, every month that he's been in, there's been inflation, and you cannot have this debt and deficit at the same time. No economy can survive that. Ours will either, and it's only the consumer who's driving through trying to make some kind of a family holiday for themselves that are pulling the economy out at all. Joe Biden makes fun of them. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, Congressman Burgess, want to come back to you because among many things, not just being a member of Congress, also a medical doctor, we see now what happened yesterday on Wall Street, the Dow crashing basically to a low we haven't seen since last year. How do we actually make sure that we don't end up doing exactly what seemingly happened a year ago, where the reaction to COVID in many ways hamstrung our economies in ways it didn't need to, with the emergence of this new variant coming out of South Africa, which even the South African health minister says, why are you banning travel here when we have effectively discovered a variant that other people simply were not able to detect based on the scientific methods they were employing?
Yeah, look, banning travel out of China in the Trump administration was probably one of the most important things that could have been done back in February of 2020. The reinstituting the bans, I think, makes some sense. Now, it's interesting, the Biden, when he was vice president, and his chief of staff, Ron Klain, were dead set against any type of travel ban when Ebola was percolating in Western Africa. So it's interesting to see that they've changed their position on this. But look, no question about it, the economy took a hit 24 hours ago. It remains to be seen whether that will be a transient hit, like it was perhaps in February of 2020. But it certainly could send shockwaves through other parts of the economy. And look, we've got to do some other things. We have got to get where the hours of service in the trucking industry, for example, do a temporary reprieve on that. Perhaps allow conditional commercial driver's licenses down to age 18 for interstate travel. There are things that could be done. They could be done right now. I don't think our Secretary of Transportation is actually up to the job, however.
Absolutely. Now, Congressman Van Drew, I want to come to you because, to Congressman Burgess' point, President Biden is now restricting travel to eighth nations, including South Africa. Many people now calling him a hypocrite, pointing out that he called President Trump xenophobic and racist for implementing a ban of travel to China, among other places. How do we actually craft public health policy if the people crafting the policy are not only inconsistent on the science, they're inconsistent on the message as well?
And the doc is right on target with this, and so they're not consistent. I mean, let's just trace back real quickly. Originally, we're not. I'm going way back now. Not that helpful. Then they were helpful. Then we needed 2 masks. Then if you got the vaccine, you wouldn't need masks, but now you do. People who have built up a natural immunity, that's not good enough, but it is good enough. There's no consistency. And the reason that people don't have confidence in what is happening is because, again, it's just, I don't mean to be mean again, but it's foolish and stupid. It's not what you expect from your leaders. It's not what I expect from my president. I want real answers and at least a real pathway. And he did criticize, brutally criticized, and others did too, Democrats, when President, Trump made sure that people weren't coming over from China. God knows how bad it would have been then if he had just opened all the doors. I mean, we got to start using our brains, be consistent, think about what we're doing. Personally, right now, I think we just got to get things under control, find out a little more about the variant, and I think right now the travel ban is good for at least the short term.
Absolutely. Congressman Jeff Van Drew, Congressman Michael Burgess, God bless you both. Thank you for joining us. Coming